don't believe all these haters who are now going around screaming, Donald Trump has sided with Vladimir Putin and sold out Ukraine. People like Malcolm Turnbull.
We have the shocking, appalling, but I regret to say somewhat predictable and predicted situation where the President of the United States is siding with a Russian dictator, a murderous dictator who has invaded a sovereign democracy, Ukraine.
Now, I don't think that's true, or at least not yet. In fact, there are now signs that Trump may instead give Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, a nasty surprise, forcing a peace deal on him that at least protects Ukraine from another Russian war for the rest, to get the rest of the country that it hasn't got yet in 2 attempts at snaffling it. Now, it's true, I was shocked last week when Donald Trump claimed that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy had started this war with Russia, that he was a dictator who'd ripped off Americans. These were absolute lies, damaging lies. Trump even demanded Zelenskyy hand over half of Ukraine's future earnings from his country's critical minerals and ports to repay American support. Trump was actually talking about looting $500 billion from Ukraine. But as I suggested at the time, and I think this is even more true now, could have been just typical Trump negotiating bluster, terrifying everyone with his unpredictability and forcing them to tiptoe around him, offer him deals or whatever, the kind of deals he loves and can boast about. And I now see some good signs since Trump's rant against Zelenskyy. And it could actually turn out well, including for Ukraine, even if it must give up hopes of taking back all the country that Russia has so far invaded, which is a bit of a pill to swallow, I know that. For one, Trump has since admitted on Fox Radio that actually it was Vladimir Putin who started this war. Getting Trump to admit error, is amazing, very rare, so it's a big signal when he does.
Every time I say, oh, it's not Russia's fault, I always get slammed by the fake news. But I'm telling you, Biden said the wrong things. Zelenskyy said the wrong things. They got attacked by somebody that's much bigger and much stronger, which is a bad thing to do. And you don't do that. But Russia could have been talked out of that so easily. That should never have been a war.
Second, Trump has also reportedly dropped key demands in his proposed deal over Ukraine's resources that would have forced Ukraine to hand it hundreds of billions of dollars, according to reports. Now, the money is now, we know, going to go into a development fund for Ukraine, but it will give America access to develop Ukraine's huge deposits of rare earths close to its border with Russia. And a preliminary deal could now be signed in days, and Trump was boasting about it all today.
President Zelenskyy is coming to sign the deal, and it's a great thing. It's a great deal for Ukraine too, because they get us over there, and we're going to be working over there. We'll be on the land, and in that way, there's sort of automatic security because nobody's going to be messing around with our people.
In fact, Zelenskyy might even be grateful to Trump for now scaring European leaders into promising more support themselves for Ukraine instead of freeloading off the US, which has been one of Trump's big beefs from the start.
Europe is at 100. We're at 300. We think it has to equalize.
Britain and France are even talking about sending their peacekeepers into Ukraine to guarantee its security from Russia if there is a peace deal. And that's something that Trump again backs, even though Russia publicly does not.
I've specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it.
Okay, put it all together. What you see is Trump getting a better deal from Ukraine, better support from Europe, and now the heat is on Putin, whose economy really is in deep trouble, to cease fire. Zelenskyy has been seen to bow to Trump. Trump will now want Putin to do the same. Now, I know no one can actually predict what he will do. That's part of his secret power, the unpredictability. But do not assume he's given up on Ukraine at all. Not yet. Joining me is Rowan Dean, Editor-in-Chief of The Spectator Australian, host of Outsiders on Sky News every Sunday at 9 a.m. Now he's also host of his own show on Fridays at 7 p.m. Rowan, the Trump style seems to be getting lots of criticisms and lots of results.
Yeah, it's getting lots of criticisms from the normal TDS, Trump derangement syndrome folk who still can't get over the fact that he was elected with such a landslide, that he was elected with a clear mandate to clean up all sorts of aspects of not only America, but around the world from an American point of view. What we're seeing is an amazing deal being done by an amazing deal maker. Now, everybody's known for decades that Donald Trump is a great deal maker. He wrote a book about it. He's shown it time and time again in his own business dealings. He thinks outside the box, to use that horrible phrase. And what we're seeing is an amazing being put together, and we're being privy to actually seeing and hearing some of the details of that deal-making process. Now, I imagine there are not many people who actually really get to see behind the scenes of a New York real estate property developer going in all guns blazing to get what he wants, but that's what we're seeing. So Donald Trump has thrown up various bits of distractions and flack, and also, here's the key thing, Andrew. Donald Trump is never, ever afraid to say the unsayable. So he puts it out there. He puts the ultimate position out there, as he has done with Gaza. It's very similar. He puts the ultimate position. Imagine if Gaza was a Riviera with casinos and beaches. Well, people sit up and suddenly think again. He's done the same thing, saying, well, maybe it wasn't entirely just Russia who was to blame. Maybe there's blame going back. Now, we could be here for hours discussing that. I don't care about that. The point is Donald Trump is saying we're going to start again, and we're going to build not only security for Ukraine, because I've said all along, the deal will be, and I said this 6 months ago, Andrew, the deal will be Putin saves face, Ukraine does not join NATO, but Ukraine gets some form of American security in the term of whatever the deal might be. That is precisely what is going to happen. Putin saves face. Yes, you're right. He might be in a bit of shock when the deal actually goes down, but he will come out of it having saved face for his own people. Zelenskyy gets the security of having the American powerhouse, the American economy, far more valuable than the American military, the American economy, the future prosperity of his nation tied into American capitalism. That's the greatest security any nation can have. And there's a great lesson there for us all, Andrew. If we want to be doing well in the new era, we have to have something to offer to the Americans. We don't want to be saying on the wrong side of the Americans. We don't want to be going, oh, we're all about, climate change and net zero, and we're all about censoring free speech. No. The Liberal Party have got to come into win the next election and come out of it on the other side, offering to the Americans to do deals, because we are now in the century of the deal.
I have to say that I do care about whether it's said that, faults on both sides or, whatever. No, Russia caused this. Russia invaded. Russia is evil here. Vladimir Putin laid it all out in an essay, about 4 years ago, what his plans were. And he wanted to remove Zelenskyy and the whole so-called Nazi regime. I want him to lose a lot of face, but he's got to be given something in order to make a deal. I don't think his people will forgive him for the price that is paid for not much.